You can no longer think the way you've always thought if you want to become someone new, because it is your thoughts that create your habits, and your habits create your life. And so, friend, I just want to encourage you, if you want to turn your life around, start thinking differently. And how do you do this? Your question, I can hear it now, is well, JJ, that sounds great. Great advice. Think differently if you want to live differently. How do I do that? You start getting around people that think differently. You feed your mind with podcasts like this with people that are fired up and excited to share ideas with you, just positive messages, even if they're incredibly simple messages. If they're fed into your head every single day, you will start to create layer after layer after layer of positive thinking, of positive thoughts, of empowered, inspired mindset that empower you and encourage you along your journey. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. I'm JJ Peller, your host of the JJ Peller Podcast. Excited to talk with you today about a vitally important topic, which is how to stop worrying and start living. There's a book by this exact title by someone you may have heard of before named Dale Carnegie. He wrote an incredibly globally famous book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. The book more people don't actually know exists is this one that he also wrote called How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. And as a friendly reminder, the primary purpose of this podcast is to keep you encouraged and inspired so that you persist through the difficulties and challenges of life to tap into your greatest potential and to do the amazing things that you were called here and created to do so that you can use your greatest gifts and talents to serve the world in a big and amazing and fun way, and so that you can achieve at your highest levels, win big, and feel fulfilled in the life that you get to live. So you might ask yourself the question, JJ, why is stopping worrying something that I should do in order to tap into my greatest potential and persist? Well, the fact of the matter is, if you've ever worried in your life, which if you're human, you have, because it's a common denominator of being human, it is actually hardwired into us to worry, then you've found yourself spending energy and thought that you could be using to invest in a different direction to tap into more of your greatest potential. So we all have a limited amount of energy in any given moment, whether it's literally a single moment, or if it's a minute, or if it's 10 minutes, or if it's a full day, or a week, or a month, or year, whatever amount of time. We all have a certain amount of energy that we can give to any moment, activity, or task, or purpose, or goal. And the problem most people face is we invest way too much time, effort, and attention into things that actually aren't productive for creating the results that we want in life. And so one of those things that we waste time on is worrying about things that most of the things we worry about, let's be honest with ourselves, don't actually happen. Or they don't happen in the same way that we worried about them. So the worrying actually didn't do anything to contribute to avoiding the thing. And so if you had solutions to get away from as much worrying as you're facing today in life, would that help you or hurt you on your journey of tapping into more of your greatest potential and achieving more, doing more, creating and contributing more in your life? It would certainly free up your ability to invest more effort and energy into doing the things you love with the people that you love doing those things with, to create the value for the people that you really want to create that value for in life. And so that's why I think this is such a powerful book. And I'd highly encourage you to buy yourself a copy. Again, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie. But in the meantime, before you actually buy yourself a copy and read through it, I've highlighted some things for myself that I want to share with you, actually specifically 8 ideas, quotes, or concepts from this book that I'm going to share with you and then give you my 2 cents on it. It might be 2 cents, it might be 8 cents. We'll just see what comes up. But the first one is from page 152, and you'll bear with me. I didn't tab them all out, but I did tell myself in a list the exact page that I needed to get to. So page 152, the rule is count your blessings, not your troubles. Now, this might sound super simple. Again, count your blessings, not your troubles. This might sound super simple, and you're like, well, JJ, I've heard that before. I just need to be grateful for the things that I have today. Well, the question is, are you doing it? Are you living it out? Are you actually counting your blessings? Or are you just focused on the problems, the struggles, and the challenges in life? Because where your attention goes, your energy flows. You've heard that before. But you also know that where you direct your attention and your energy, you hardwire yourself to continue to direct your attention and energy in that direction. So if you keep focusing on the problems and the things you're worrying about, you will continue to find ways to focus on and invest time and attention into the problems and the challenges and the difficulties of life. And by the way, I'm not suggesting you shouldn't give attention to the problems, because we got to give attention to problems if we want to solve them, get over them, and work through them. But we also have to realize there's a difference between worrying about a problem and focusing on it in the way that helps us to get through it, over it, or around it. And so if you're just focused on the problems and the troubles and the challenges, and you're not counting your blessings, you're going to probably wire yourself for more negativity than you ever wanted to experience in your life. And so to me, when we say, or when he says in this book, count your blessings, not your troubles, I'm not saying you shouldn't look at your troubles and find a way to handle them or change them or eliminate them. But I am suggesting that most of us need to find more time to invest into counting our blessings and being grateful for the things we have today and for the life that we want to be living tomorrow. Because, by the way, can you be grateful for gifts you haven't received yet? Yes. Like every day, I want to be grateful for the things that are happening in my life today. Yes. And have happened in my life. Yes. But also, every day, I want to be grateful for the amazing things that I know are happening in my life in the future. This is called being grateful in advance. And if you're not yet practicing being grateful in advance, I'd highly encourage you to consider taking it on for yourself, to do this practice, this habit every day. I tend to find that the more we're grateful for the things that we want to see come to fruition in our lives, the more we see those things come to fruition in our lives. Like, I think my son's got a birthday coming up. He's going to be turning 5 soon, and he's already grateful for the presents that he wants to get. He's already saying, when we're at dinner, we're saying prayers. He's thanking God for the fun things that we're going to do on his birthday that haven't even happened yet. I'm like, how cool is that? And then secondly, I'm like, man, how much more do I need to be investing in that myself as well? Being so grateful and thankful for the things that I know are going to be happening. And you might say, well, JJ, how do you know things are going to be happening? How do you know things are going to be happening? Like, I would like things to happen, but how do I know? Well, what I've found to be true for myself and for many people that have turned dreams into reality, and they've manifested the visions that were in their head and in their heart into concrete reality in their life. And when I say manifest, I literally just mean they've done things, or things have happened in a way such that they see it, they experience it. That's what manifest means. It means to actually see it and experience it. These people have been grateful for things before they ever had the things. They've been grateful for the experiences before they've ever had the experiences. So my invitation to you is, what can you be grateful for today? What blessings can you count today? Can you focus on today that will make you a more thankful, grateful person, that will actually draw and attract more of these great opportunities into your life, so that you see in concrete reality the visions in your head become reality? So, number 1, count your blessings, not your troubles. Number 2 is on page 122. Oh, this is a good one. So, there it says Montaigne. Oh, wait, is that the right one? Yeah. I don't know how to say this name. Montaigne, the great French philosopher. I should probably know this. I don't. The great French philosopher adopted these 17 words as the motto of his life. Here is the quote: "A man is not hurt so much by what happens as by his opinion of what happens." End quote. Dale goes on to say, "And our opinion of what happens is entirely up to us." So whatever happens in your life is just the thing that happens. Your opinion of that thing is actually what creates the experience you have with that thing or that situation or that experience. We've got to give the right opinion to the right things in our lives. So like, if something happens in my life, I've got to have the opinion that this is maybe not a fun thing, maybe it's a painful thing, but it's a thing that is giving me guidance or moving me in the right direction, or it's equipping me, or it's making me stronger, or it's a pain that's going to catalyze me to take action that will create change. What I think is really important to understand is, as he says, our opinion of what happens is entirely up to us. You could choose your opinion. I can choose my opinion. In fact, we all choose our own opinions of things every single day. But do we intentionally choose our opinions of the things that happen for us that might not seem like they're happening for us? That's a little harder. That's a little harder thing to do when it's like, man, this thing, of course, clearly, objectively, this is a bad thing. This is a challenging problem or situation or difficulty or pain that I'm going through, that I'm enduring, that I have to face. But what if instead your opinion was different? What if you changed your opinion of that thing you're going through, and now your opinion is, what a gift. What an opportunity to grow. What an opportunity to learn something. What an opportunity to dig deeper and have a more rich life experience that can equip me and empower me and encourage me to tap into more of my fullest potential and live out my purpose in a more full way. What if you had a totally different opinion of everything that happened in your life? How much different would you experience life? It'd be very different. But what I want to remind you of is your opinion of every situation, of every pain, will dictate how you experience that pain in that situation. Not only how you experience it, but what you do from it and what you take from it. So please remember that it's our opinion of things that dictates how we actually experience things, and you have complete 100% control over your opinion of a circumstance or situation. Next thing is on the same exact page, and this is really interesting. Epictetus, did I say that right? Epictetus, Epictetus, the great Stoic philosopher, I should probably know that one as well, another philosopher, warned that we ought to be more concerned about removing the wrong thoughts from the mind than about removing tumors and abscesses from the body. What he's suggesting here is that the negative thoughts that we have, the visions, the thoughts, the things that we imagine in our minds that we worry about, back to the title of the book, Stop Worrying and Start Living, the things we worry about, the thoughts we have, the negative thoughts, those can damage us significantly. And sometimes it is those negative thoughts that actually physically damage us more than any other physical damage that can happen to us without our own thoughts around that thing. And so I just want you to consider the fact that maybe it is true. We all worry about our health in terms of like, what am I eating? What am I putting into my body? Well, okay, we don't all worry about this, but there are people that worry about this. I'm one of those people. I care about being healthy and whole and not putting garbage into me in different manners. And I think what's interesting is like, we don't as often worry about the toxicity of our negative thoughts. We don't as often worry about the toxic nature of the thoughts that we regularly think, that we ruminate on, that we dwell on. But those regular negative thoughts, the things we dwell on and ruminate on that are not helpful, that are certainly unproductive, they're harmful, they're toxic, like how often do we think about removing those or eliminating those or trying to, as Jim Rohn said, stand guard at the door of our minds to keep those thoughts out? Significantly less time invested into that than when we're actually hit or we fall down or we get a scrape. We're like, oh, I got to take care of that. But we forget about the pain that's created that might feel dull at first, but over time it gets really painful when we're just ruminating on negative, unhelpful thought patterns and toxic thoughts and worry. So I bring this one up in particular to say it is a really powerful thing to think about removing wrong thoughts. And what are those thought patterns that you have that if you removed them would totally transform your life, would empower you, would encourage you, would give you a lift because you're no longer being weighed down by those negative thoughts, especially the ones that are regular for you that you consistently decide to think about. What if you got rid of them? What if you eliminated them from your life? How much would your life change? Page 123 is for the next one. Just flipping over to the very next one. I love this. So William James, who is considered the father of psychology in America, he's got lots of amazing quotes and philosophies and perspectives on human psychology and how to thrive and how to be your best and how to live a great life, all of these things. And he goes on, he says, the sovereign voluntary path to cheerfulness, if your cheerfulness be lost, is to sit up cheerfully and to act and speak as if cheerfulness were already there. One more time for the people that did not completely catch that the first time. The sovereign voluntary path to cheerfulness, or you could substitute the word joy or excitement or sense of aliveness or passion or enthusiasm. If your cheerfulness be lost, or if your enthusiasm or passion or joy or excitedness, if it's lost, is to sit up cheerfully and to act and speak as if cheerfulness were already there. If you act like you're cheerful, if you live cheerfully, if you show up with a cheerful posture, it'll change everything. Like I remember when I used to work in an office, and I still do that in my home office, in my home, but man, I walk fast pretty much everywhere I go. And people ask me all the time, like, how do you have so much energy? How are you so joyful and excited and positive? I believe part of it is like I walk fast because I'm so passionate, excited, and driven and like want to get after it. But also like I have these excited, motivated feelings because I walk fast. They support each other. But what you'll find is if you start to move with intensity and passion and aliveness and positivity and cheerfulness and joy and use your face in a joyful way, like you smile, it'll change everything. It'll change the way you feel. And so if you're not feeling the joy you want today, if you don't have the enthusiasm you want today or the positivity you want today, think about the person that you would have to show up as. How would you have to move and stand and walk and interact with another human? Like, what would you have to do to be seen by yourself or another person as a cheerful, joyful, passionate, positive person? And then show up in that way, stand in that way, move in that way, and you will start to feel that way. Like I can't guarantee a lot of things in life, but I can nearly guarantee that if you start to show up this way, you move this way, you walk this way, your physiology totally changes. You will start to feel more cheerful, joyful, excited, passionate, and alive, and probably even driven. And now you create this virtuous, positive cycle where you feel that way, so you act that way, and you talk that way, and you live that way. And all of those things feed on one another to create this positive, virtuous cycle so that you live an uplifted, inspired, encouraged, cheerful, joyful life. All right, let's move on to the next one. It's an Emerson quote on page 113 of this book. Great. I love it. Emerson said, "A man is what he thinks about all day long. How could he possibly be anything else?" Another person that I absolutely admire in the personal growth and development space is one of the original greats in the space, Earl Nightingale, who said, "You become what you think about most of the time." You become what you think about most of the time, and that's an extrapolation of this Emerson quote of a man is what he thinks about all day long. What you dwell on, what you think about, what you think of yourself as, that is who you become. You construct yourself thought by thought by thought. Every thought builds on itself. That's why when you get in this negative thought pattern, a negative thought pattern loop, it's really difficult to get out of it. But once you get out of it, you got to start building something new with positive, empowered, inspired, uplifted, cheerful thoughts. Because if you are trying and making the effort to become a different kind of person in life, that means you got to think as that different person thinks. You can no longer think the way you've always thought if you want to become someone new, because it is your thoughts that create your habits, and your habits create your life. There's more components to that, but that's the general idea. And so, friend, I just want to encourage you, like, if you want to turn your life around, start thinking differently. And how do you do this? Your question, I can hear it now, is like, well, JJ, that sounds great. Great advice. Think differently if you want to live differently. How do I do that? You start getting around people that think differently. You feed your mind with podcasts like this, with people that are fired up and excited to share ideas with you, just positive messages, even if they're incredibly simple messages. If they're fed into your head every single day, you will start to create layer after layer after layer of positive thinking, of positive thoughts, of empowered, inspired mindset that empower you and encourage you along your journey. All right, two last ones. Page 31 is a quote, and then the last one I'm most excited about, I should have told you that from the beginning, 8 words that can transform your life. All right, first of all, page 31. So he's talking about, like, how do you get away from worry and start to get in a better headspace? And so he gives this quote that he saw on a doctor's wall at one point. This is incredible. So relaxation and recreation. The most relaxing recreating forces are a healthy religion, sleep, music, and laughter. Have faith in God, learn to sleep well, love good music, see the funny side of life, and health and happiness will be yours. I absolutely love this because if you break down this word recreation, what do you get? Recreation. You've got to recreate yourself by getting the sleep, by building yourself up, by listening to good music that makes you feel built up and excited and inspired, by having some type of faith in your life, by believing in a higher power. I believe that's a really important aspect of living a healthy, full, happy, joyful, excited life, is like knowing that it's way more than just about your existence, and there's a power way more expansive than you, way more powerful, way more important than you. And so I think that's a really great thing to live by, is like, what is your recreation? What are you doing to recreate yourself, to build yourself up? Getting the rest, the relaxation, having the religion in your life, the faith in your life, the relationship with God in your life, eating well, feeding your mind positive, encouraging messages and words and voices, These are all things that will help you. All right, last but not least, 8 words that can transform your life. Page 114. 8 words that can determine your destiny. I'll count them out for you as I go. If you're watching the video, you see me counting these. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Your thoughts create your reality, friend. And if you want to change your thoughts, you got to feed your mind with different thoughts. You got to change the way you absorb or what you absorb in terms of voices and messages. Way too many people are just listening to a bunch of junk on the news, on social media, and it's not helpful. It's not helpful. Like, if you want to turn your life around, start feeding your mind better messages, higher quality voices that are encouraging you and uplifting you and telling you that more is possible because, friend, let me tell you, more is possible than you've ever even started to imagine. You can do so much more. You've got so much more in you. And that's what I'm trying to do with this podcast, is to remind you of your potential, to remind you that you can do incredible things with your life, to remind you that you are gifted and created to do something meaningful and significant and positive with your life. Believe it. I believe it about you. You got to believe it about you. So my hope is that you'll keep coming back to this podcast if it keeps you encouraged and uplifted and reminded about some of the really fundamental, simple things that make the biggest difference. And if you do these things I talked about today, you will start to worry less and live more, tap into more of your greatest potential. And if you've found value in this podcast episode, please, please, please send it to a friend. Share it with somebody that could also benefit from this message. I'm really excited to be on a mission with this podcast to be able to uplift, inspire, and encourage more people just like you who are driven, ambitious, and excited to do something meaningful and important with your life. I want to help you stay encouraged and inspired on your journey as you go through the difficulties, the challenges, the obstacles, the disciplines of life, the testings in life. As you're worrying about things, as you're concerned, as you're trying to figure things out, I want to help you keep that fire alive, that drive alive, to persist, to keep going, to be your best, to refuse to settle for anything less than your greatest potential. Tap into the fullness of who you were created to be so that you can serve the world in the highest way possible, because I believe that when more people do work that lights them up, we will get more light in this world. And that is, my friend, one of the most important missions that I'm on, is how can we bring more light, more hope, more joy, more belief, more faith, more excitement, more enthusiasm, more passion, more aliveness to even more people. I hope this has rekindled your inner spirit. If it has, share it with a friend who also needs a rekindled inner spirit to keep going, to stay driven, to move forward on your mission with your purpose to do the great things you are here to do. Friend, until next time, refuse to settle for anything less than your greatest potential. Never settle for anything less than what you're capable of. Just keep going. Great things are happening. Believe that, and I'll see you next time, friend. Be your best.